It's a very different way of living. And if you can open to that, you can be in bliss. You don't need to make your first million in order to have joy. And that won't bring you it anyway. Especially now as we're at the point of the collapse of the whole system of this fictional wealth. It's time to abandon ship and find Krishna or Christ in your heart and receive the true wealth. And so that's what all the religions teach. I mean, Christ said the same thing in the New Testament, right? He said that a rich man will have as easy a time going to heaven as a camel through the eye of a needle, right? Stories are the same, really. It's universal wisdom. But how many of us live according to that wisdom? Or do we fall into the trap of having anxiety to buy more cows? And that's the question we all have to ask. What am I living for? Is it to maximize what money can buy? Or is it to find what God can provide in terms of the miraculous blessings of surrender? Now, it doesn't mean you have to give away all your money. You know, in India, there are also stories about very rich rajas and maharajas who are enlightened as well. So it's not about money being the root of all evil, but greed is, and attachment to things and to people, possessiveness, and the misuse of our natural world that is a gift of God in order to profit at the expense of our brothers and sisters, the birds, the animals, the flowers, the plants, the trees. We're destroying nature to make a quick buck. And we're destroying the very environment that enables us to live. And we're raping our sacred planet. And that has to stop. And it will only stop if we get out of this insane logic of trying to maximize profit at the expense of life and beauty and love and sacredness and the unity of all that is. And we all have to rise to this new level of consciousness, to the sacredness of all beings, if we are going to save our own future and that of our children and create a life worth living on this planet. We have that duty because we're the ones who took us out of the Garden of Eden into this hell realm, and if we want to get back to the garden, there's only one way of doing it. We have to merit being in that garden, and it will be given again. So that's what we study in Sat Yoga, because it is the story of how we fell into this ignorance that has created the bad karma, and what we have to do to achieve that perfect Buddhahood, the liberation in life that enables us to then have mastery over this physical realm that is a dream, and to redream it in the most beautiful way, rather than in the way that we have dreamed it into a nightmare of competitiveness and war and brutality and unloving and hateful worlds and peoples and conflicts everywhere. And those conflicts have spread to every level of our lives now, from not just the international level, but down to the family level and the couple level, and individually we are at war with ourselves. And we have to start at that level. The inner war has to end. The war within our own mind. And when we can end that war and become wholehearted and bring our God consciousness to life within and live that life of grace and radiance, we become catalysts for change at the larger level. And what one being does through their own transformation affects the entire world. Even chaos theory has now proven that. They know that, right? The butterfly in China can change the weather patterns in Costa Rica, right? We are all interconnected. Quantum physics says the same thing. All the particles are entangled. They're connected no matter where they are in the universe. Change one photon and the light will go on everywhere. So we need to do that. Each of us is a spark of the divine light, and when our light shines, that radiance will resonate with the whole energy field of all beings. So we have tremendous power. They will try to tell you you're powerless and you can't do anything and there's no alternative, etc., etc. But there is. They don't understand the miraculous power of consciousness. So yoga is the most ancient science of how to achieve higher states of consciousness so that you can live in that empowerment that can effect the most beautiful changes, transformations of our phenomenal world, which is the gift of God. This is the expression of God. But when we have lost touch with our God consciousness, then the world becomes demonic, and we partake of those same demonic energies. But we can dissolve all of that and liberate ourselves and bring the light into this world of darkness very easily and very quickly. And so we must all have faith. Don't ever lose faith that you can change things and turn the trajectory of history in a new direction, because we can. And we can still solve all the world's problems. It's not too late. But we can only do it with that higher power. We're not going to do it with the current technology, which is used for the wrong purposes of creating more problems, more radiation, more oil spills, all of that. We can't do it with that. We need the highest technology of God's wisdom if we're going to escape from the prison we've created in our planet. So Sat Yoga is about doing that. And doing that through liberating yourself from the ego mind that believes it does not deserve the grace of liberation. You know, that's the biggest obstacle. Okay? It's not the chattering mind, it's not the obstacle of not being able to focus and concentrate, like people think, I can't meditate and all that. No, the real issue is this. Most egos believe they do not deserve to achieve God realization. They have a sense of guilt that they carry, and unworthiness. And that is the illusion. That's the false belief. Each one of us is a manifestation of God. Each one of us is an incarnation, an avatar of that divine power. Don't fall into the belief that you're a bad person, a sinner, that you, because of something you did in the past, or some trauma that occurred to you that must have happened because you have bad karma and you deserved it. All of those stories, those narratives we create that put us in a hole, they're false. And never believe, oh, it's too late. If I had started this 20 years ago, okay, but I'm too old now, or I have too many obligations, I have children, I have a job, there's no excuses, and there's no reason to withhold the gift of liberation from yourself. And it's easy. It's easy to achieve because it's simply shifting the identification that you have from the bodily ego to the infinite light of the self. And that's there, and it's real, and as soon as you believe in yourself that you are that, it will manifest. It will emerge from the eclipsed state behind the veil of the ego, and the light will shine, just like when a cloud moves and the sun shines through, and you realize that it had been there all along. So that's all we have to do, is realize that the light is there and has been there all along. And we are the light. You don't have to pray for the light to free you. You're not the cloud, okay? And you're not the shadow, and you're not the darkness. You are the light. So that's the good news, that all of this is very easy and simple and natural. And you know what? We've done this all before. Because we have lived in infinite cycles of time and space, and we've been through this. And we get through this in different levels, and higher levels. But we have achieved realization. And we've come from that state of realization. We've descended from godhood into taking human form. We are all angels that mistakenly think we're fallen, when in fact we've been sent into the darkness to bring the light, but then we forgot our mission. We just have to remember that was the only reason we came here in the first place, was to bring the light again. And just knowing that and remembering that constantly for a short period of time will free you. That's all you have to do, nothing more. And if you'll remember it in a state of peace and relaxation and liberation, and not think about anything else except how wonderful it is to know that you're a being of bliss, then that bliss will emerge from within the unconscious. It will come up, that's what the Kundalini rising is, and it will descend. That's the Shaktipat, the grace. It will come from both the superconscious and the unconscious. And it will dissolve all of the darkness, the negativity, the guilt, the depression, the addiction, all of those things, those defense mechanisms that were only there to make up for the lack of the divine energy. That's all any of the psychopathologies that psychology studies are really all about. It's that we have forgotten our divine energy, and so we took something else to fill the emptiness. Whether we became nymphomaniacs or heroin addicts or whatever else we decided to choose to pick up to fill the lack. It's all comes from the same illusion. Because you're not lacking. You are filled with an infinite amount of divine energy right now. The word in India that they use is purna. Purna means the fullness of God. And that fullness is in your own heart. And it's there right now. Let yourself feel it. Let yourself bathe in it. Let it come out and fill the whole organism. All the cells need to bathe in this divine energy, and then you'll see it overflows the body. It will create an aura of radiance, and it will be a gift that you'll offer to every being. Because that's all everyone wants. And you will be a giver of that energy that will bring us all back to life. We're all dying for lack of that energy flow. It's not oil shortages that are disturbing us. It's the love shortage, because we've forgotten that that's what we are. But we can have a gusher at any moment just by realizing that your heart is filled with that power. So let's let it gush out tonight, okay? That be all right? So let's do a meditation together.